Christmas time is here, happiness and cheer, fun for all that children call their favorite time of year. I know that's not how technically how the melody goes, but it sounds like it sets like it goes up like time of year or something like that. But if you're just gonna do like one verse, it sounds better to end it. I don't know. Hey, welcome back to the number one podcast in the world, the Cellarcast, episode 79. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? We're almost to 80. We're almost past, we've well beaten the life expectancy of someone born in like 1960, you know? Is that? I feel like it's a lot higher in there, depending on where you are. Maybe in like Mali or something like that. It's pretty dour to talk about on the Christmas episode. I'm recording this at like 2 a.m. on the 26th. It's so funny. I went out for a walk. I was like, I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. I'm gonna go to bed early Christmas Day, and I'm gonna wake up early. Who cares? So I went to sleep at I fell asleep at like 6, and then when I woke up 11. God damn it, 11 p.m. Really? So I went out for a walk, and I was up for a bit. Then I went on a walk at like 1:30 or something. So it's like 2 a.m. I'm walking back to my house, and I live in a pretty quiet neighborhood. Like it's not a big deal, and also pretty nice night. Like no wind. That's the important thing. The wind chill is the real killer in cold weather. It's the wind chill. It's what I learned in Chicago. Like, oh my god, in the Midwest in the winter, geez Louise, the you gotta like tuck your shirt in because the wind will cut through you like a knife. Oh, it's the worst. It's what you gotta watch out for. Don't even look at the temperature. Look at the wind chill. And it was just a very calm, clear sky. No wind. Just kind of Christmas. Night of Christmas, I guess. And really lovely. Just had a little walk around. Listened to some music and did my usual thing. And as I'm walking back, I'm just like totally in my own head. No cars on the street, nothing. I'm very like in my head, listening to music, and I just hear like a Merry Christmas, and I stop dead in my tracks, and I look over in the direction that it came from because I'm like, what the hell? I thought my first thought was that it was someone had like an automatic thing set up, like a motion activated sensor type thing. Like, when you walk by it says Merry Christmas or whatever, something cute like that. But like there was no compression, like it didn't sound like it came out of a speaker. So I thought it was either that or like a Wendigo. Like one of those Wendigo videos. And I'm looking over. I just slowly turn around towards this house. And in the front yard, there's like these 2 chairs, and I look down, there's like a husband and a wife, I think, if I had to guess, sitting down, just chatting, I guess, in kind of low voices. They just been out all night. Completely, like, I had to like look down. They were like partially obscured by like a bush in their yard. And like, as soon as I saw them and I processed that they were people, this whole adrenaline just, I like clutched my chest. I was like, what? I said, hey, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. And then I went back on my way. I didn't hear them. They were talking low. They weren't making a lot of noise. They were, again, like partially obscured by a little bush in their yard. And so I was, they were sitting down, so I had to kind of look, turn my eyes down a little bit just to see them from where I was standing on the sidewalk. Whoa. Okay. All right. Let me jump in with a comment from. We got one question from last time. From Ryan. Ryan says, "Merry Christmas, Ty again. Hope your holiday was good." Well, I hope your holiday was good as well, Ryan. And everyone who's listening to this, I hope your Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, winter solstice, if you're a pagan, I hope it was just lovely. Question to kick off the next podcast. What did you get from / for your loved ones? Well, that's a very good question. Thank you. Let's see. What did I... Okay, well... Oh, God. This is a whole story in and of itself. So I wanted to get Kat something. I wanted to get her... What I wanted was... I didn't know what I was going to get her. And then, like, at the start of the month, I'm texting her, and she went to the mall, and she was looking... She's like, oh, I really wanted a plushie of Toad from Mario. And I was like... And she couldn't find one. She was bummed about it. And I was like, I know what I'm going to get her now, all right? And so I would have paid for it just out of pocket. Because, yeah, it's a Christmas gift. But I was like, hey, wait, maybe I can be a little crafty, because I still have that Target gift card. I had both of them. Yep, this is a Target gift card story. It's coming back. It's just this thing that sticks around in my life. How long has this been a thing in my life? God, I feel like since episode 7 or something of this podcast. These Target gift cards. So I'm like, I still got money on them. I still have like $100 total between them. So I'm like, oh yeah, on the Target website, order only. They don't have it in stock, but they got a Toad plushie. I'm like, awesome. And then I think, you know what would be really awesome? Oh, you know what would make her so happy? Because I see that they also have a Peach plushie. They got a Princess Peach. And Kat loves Peach because she's like blonde and she wears pink. And she's voiced by Anya Taylor-Joy in the new movie. So I'm like, oh, that would be... Oh, if I got a twofer... If I got her both, and it would be like she had a Peach with like a little Toad for her, like a little set. Oh, that would be awesome. She would be so happy. So I order it. I'm like, great. And I order this on like the 5th of the month. And when mind you, to remind everyone, you cannot order something from the Target website unless you have an account with them. You have to like register an account for their online store. You can't check out as a guest. God forbid. You need an account. Like, God. So way back when I first like tried to order something from there, I just made a little dumb account with like a fake name because I didn't care, and I sent it to... I have an alternate email address that I send like... If I know I'm going to get spam on something, like, I don't care about getting emails from Target. So I'll put it, I call it my mule email. Like you have a mule character in like an MMO. They just shoulder all your items. So I call it my mule email. I send it over there. That's what it's hooked up to. So I'm like, great. And now like 2 weeks go by and it was supposed to get here by the 20th. Would be just in time for when we were going to see each other on the 23rd, where we were going to exchange gifts. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get it just in time, a couple days before, and we're gonna be all good. So, like 2 weeks goes by, and on like the 17th or whatever, the 16th, I think like, Let me just double check on like the tracking, right? So I go and I go back to that email, and because it's not my usual email, I wasn't getting notifications for it. And lo and behold, what happens but the same goddamn thing that happens every single time I try to order off this godforsaken website. It got canceled for no freaking reason the next day. Just ordered on the 5th. On the 6th, got an email, your order has been canceled. And why? They don't tell me why. They say, oh, they said like potential reasons why they can automatically cancel your order. It's like, if it's essential supplies, which I don't think this falls under, or like spending limits or something like that, or suspicious activity. I'm like, well, none of that makes sense. So I'm like, god damn it. So I go back to order again. I figure like, okay, it's gonna be here late. It's gonna be here, and it's not gonna be an issue, right? But I wanted to have a nice thing where we see each other right around Christmas Day and we get to exchange gifts. And what annoyed me was having to say, hey, your gift's going to be here. It's not going to come until after Christmas. Like, and I already knew, like, it wasn't going to be a problem with her, but I just wanted to have a nice thing, So I'm like, okay, what? I go to reorder it, and guess what? The Toad's out of stock. Well, thank you. Fucking thank you, Target, for telling me that the order was canceled, and then I found out after one of the items was out of stock. Wonderful. Thank you. So I'm like, god damn. So I'm like, I'll just get the peach. That'll be nice enough for her. So we go, so I sorted the peach, order it. I wait like an hour, no emails, no automatic cancellation. I'm like, okay. Next day, I check that same email. It got fucking canceled again. What the fuck? So I call Target customer support. I go straight to their gift card line. I talk with a representative, and I have never been able to get a straight answer out of these people as to why my orders keep getting canceled. It's like I tried to order a hard drive like a year ago. Didn't happen. I tried to order books. One got through. I got the Carcharodon's 40K book, which I thought was great. But other times I tried to order books, just didn't come in. Didn't come in. Order got canceled every single time. Always getting canceled, like right after. I'm like, what the hell? I try, and again, like most of the customer service well, two of them weren't that helpful. One of them was really helpful. I've had nice experiences with their customer support, but no one's ever been able to give me a straight answer as to what the issue is. So I'm talking finally to this lady on the line, and I'm like, hey, I give her my details. So we can, I tell her my account and everything. I say, hey, I'm just like, what the heck is going on? Why did my order get canceled? And she said she finally was able to tell me the system flagged the purchase as suspicious activity. And I say, that doesn't make any sense, ma'am. Literally, all I've done is I got these gift cards as like a thank you thing from some stuff I did for my old high school. And, I'm not a typical, most of the stuff that's in store at Target is not really like stuff I'm in the market for. So I figure, hey, I can go maybe order some stuff online. I try to order some things that they actually do that have that I would want. And that's it. Is I only opened the account so that I could just use these gift cards. And I'm just trying to buy something for my girlfriend for Christmas. I'm just trying to buy Christmas gifts. And she was very nice, and she was very understanding, and I asked her, like, what specifically was suspicious? Does it tell you? And she goes, no, I'm sorry. It's just like, there was nothing she could do. It just said, sorry, the order was flagged as being suspicious. The system automatically flagged it. Couldn't tell me why, couldn't tell me what. No more details other than that. And I just like, hey, can you let me vent for a moment? I'm not mad at you. You've been very helpful. But if there's someone, like if there's a manager or something listening, or someone who can do something about this or has some kind of say, I want to let you know that, like, as a consumer, this really really discourages me from getting someone I know like a gift card for Target in the future. Like, this has been a headache and a half, and I don't want them to put up with this. I'm probably just gonna get them like an Amazon card. I don't even use Amazon. I don't even like using Amazon, but I would rather do it over this, because this is just this has just been a nightmare. And she told me, and this is her words, she said specifically that over this exact issue of just random cancellations for suspicious activity, she said they were getting a high volume of calls about this issue. So this is a widespread common issue that they've been having. Ugh. Like, what the heck? And I was, and she just, as she says, yeah, she did all she could do, which was just tell me. And I said, I did tell her, like, thank you so much. You've been the most helpful person I've talked to about this issue. You've actually given me an answer, which no one's been able to do so far. So thank you at least for that. But man, yeah, this is all we could do. So, so I hang up, and I'm worked up, and I said, frick it, dude. I'm like, hey, Dad, can you just drive me down? Because there's a Target, like, pretty close to our house. I'm like, can you just drive me over? And I just want to pick something. I want to go and just buy something in person. So he does. He brings me out. He drives me over, and then I was going to walk back. And so I can't drive because I'm a little baby. And I go in. And I go to the gamer collectible section that they have at the back of the store. And I couldn't find the Toad or the Peach, because again, those weren't sold in stores. But what I did find, I found a little blue Yoshi. And I got a little Donkey Kong, because she's going through a Donkey Kong phase right now. And I bought those. And I got home and I was like, okay. So we meet up on the 23rd, specifically on Friday. And we were gonna go. So we went to the movies. We went to a mall. We went to a theater. And we saw Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish, which I kind of want to talk about in the next segment. But anyway, so we get to the theater, and we exchange our gifts, and it wasn't her Toad, but when I pulled out, I had her pick out the Yoshi herself out of my bag, and she was like, "Oh, a Yoshi," and I was like, "I got one more," and I pulled out the Donkey Kong. I was like, he's finally back performing for you. And she thought that was great. That made her really happy. So that was nice. That was good. I was like, okay. And then the other thing was, I'm like, I still got like $40 on this. And I wanted to, because her mom has been great. Her mom's been really nice to me. And I wanted to just give her, I don't know, a little like thank you thing. So, we went to the clearance aisle again at Target, because I still have money on this goddamn thing. And we bought like a shirt that she said she would like. And I wrote her a little note saying like, thanks for everything. And, wrapped it up in printer paper and Scotch tape. Because that's how I roll. And apparently she liked it. Apparently she was really touched by that gift. So that made me feel nice. In terms of stuff that I got myself, let's see. I asked my my uncle has a ridiculous amount of like expendable income that he just like is just itching to spend on my brother and I. Like, he has nothing else to spend it on. So, like, you're like, hey, I kind of wanted some money and he just lights the fuck up. He's like, oh, dude, totally. So I asked him for some money, and I ordered myself a hitbox controller or a leverless style controller for I guess Christmas / my birthday. It's not going to be in for a while. It's not technically a hitbox. Hitbox is a brand name. I ordered mine from All Fight Sticks, which was probably more expensive, but hey, whatever. Yeah, so it's going to be coming in sometime. I don't know exactly when, because one of the parts, they don't send it to you. I kind of wanted to put it together myself, so I wanted to get like the chassis and the basic, like, you know, the enclosure from All Fight Sticks. And then I wanted to like order separately like the board and the wires and everything and the buttons. And I wanted to put it together myself. But it turns out all that other shit was sold out from the places I was looking at. So like, okay. So I just I just ordered it from AFS. All complete basically. So they're gonna assemble it and then ship it over to me. One of the pieces, I believe the button panel was out of stock. So they don't send it to you for shipping cost reasons, I'm assuming, and also just convenience. They don't ship it to you unless all the parts are there. So I basically essentially put it on, I reserved whenever they get their stock in again for the panels. So I don't know exactly when it's going to come in, but the order is placed, and I wanted to get some custom art for it, so I spent a little on that. And yeah, so I mainly wanted it because like I think it would be fun. I'd like to invest in my hobby. And two, I think it makes it a lot easier to go to like in-person tournaments. Unlike, you know, playing with a keyboard is all fine and good, and it's a totally fine way to play. Excuse me, fighting games, but I don't know. I don't want to. There's just this like thing that comes with showing up. I feel like maybe I'm totally, you know, exaggerating this in my head, but I feel like showing up and being like, hey, I got this keyboard, and like no one knows how it works. No one knows like if did I do some kind of funky macro on it to like cheat or something like that, and you got to use like an adapter to get it to working on like a PS4 or something. And I don't want to be. I feel like it runs a much higher risk of being like that guy, you know. I don't want to be that guy, and I just feel like also I just don't want to transport my keyboard. I want my keyboard to just stay on my desk, to be honest. And having a dedicated like leverless controller or all button controller. There's no one can decide on what to call it, a box style. Who knows? But having a dedicated controller is makes that stuff a lot easier. There's a whole tournament in March that I want to go to. Probably want to take Kat there actually, and just to as a little like community event. And I wanted to have it in time for that. So that was kind of, I guess, the big purchase I got, or the big thing I got. Mainly the stuff I got was just money. So Kat, as usual, got me a $20 Steam card because she's the GOAT and she knows that I don't. I feel like a lot of people would hear that and be like, "Oh, that's lame," but no, I'm not huge on gifts. I am not like, I don't need you to fucking, you know, give me the world or anything. I'm more than happy to get some money to spend on video games. Oh yeah, so she came with 3 gifts when we went to the theater. She had a friend of hers who I was really surprised about this because I think I've only met her like once or twice. But she had a friend who made a little coaster for me. I think it's a coaster. I'm not sure. Maybe it's wait, is this an ornament? I'm looking at it now. It's like, it's made out of wood. It looks like it's made out of a little tree branch. And it's really nice. It's like it has my name on it. She spelled it right. Thank you. And she even asked her like what my favorite color is. She's like, he likes green. So it has like a green kind of finish, like paint, and my name's written in like a darker shade. There's even like little like light shading on my name. Like it's really sweet. which I was not expecting that. That was really nice. I think this is an ornament because it has a little like hole that you would loop a little string through. And then and then her cat's mom also got me a gift which I wasn't expecting. And she didn't even know what it was. It was just this like wrapped box, like the size of a book or something. I thought it was going to be a book or something like that, and it was. So it's like this, it's like got gift wrap around it, but there's like a seal, like a seal you would put on a letter. I had to break the seal, and then this thing was wrapped like 3 times around. So I take all this wrapping paper off, and this is in the theater. There's like no one in the theater. We're always the only ones in the theater. I unwrap all this paper, and then it's like a cardboard box. And I'm like, okay, and there's like tape on it, so I have to use my long ass girl nails to cut the tape open and just open it up. And then inside of the box, there's even more paper of like that kind of crinkly packaging paper, like extra cushioning, that like thin stuff. I unravel that, I throw that off. There's an envelope. And inside the envelope is another envelope for Outback Steakhouse. And I'm like, and I just pull this out after all this work. The most build up to any gift ever. And I looked at it, I was like, what? I think my first words were literally, is it 'cause I'm white? Not in an ungrateful way at all. I was just like, did I strike her as like an Outback Steakhouse kind of guy? I would not have expected that. So I open it up, and there's a very nice, it was like a gift card. It was like a $50 gift card to Outback Steakhouse and 2 $10 off coupons. And there was a very nice little note from her inside that said, "Thank you for making Katrina happy," which I thought was very sweet from her. It's like, okay, I'm not I've never been to Outback Steakhouse, but yeah. So that was nice. It was very nice. And there was like a gift. No, there was like someone's. What is this? Yeah, someone's. I'm like, does she know someone from Outback Steakhouse? Because there's like a business card inside of like a local Outback Steakhouse. Does she know someone? Does she know somebody? Or just whatever. Let's see. Did I get anything else? In terms of like physical things, that was pretty much it. My grandmother gave me some money. I won't say how much, but she gave me a pretty nice amount of money. It's kind of our ritual. And she had to do it with my grandfather in the room, but she had to like be hush-hush about it, because if he knows that she gave me a lot of money, he's going to try to steal it from me. Because hey, that's just family, dude. That's just what family's all about. Wow, that sounds really awful. What are you gonna do? So yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I spent some time. The best gift I could have gotten was just spending time with the people I like, and that's very cheesy, but it is honestly, like, I'm not a very physical like gift person, and we went through this. Kat and I went through this last year with my birthday, where she was trying to figure out because it was the first birthday of mine that we'd spent. It was the first time we've been together. It was the first of my birthdays we had spent together, if that makes whatever. That's the way I'll phrase it. And well, I guess technically at the beginning of this year, sort of, because it's a January 1st birthday. Anyway, And she was all freaking out. And not like freaking out, but she was like, "Oh, you want to do this? And you want to do that?" And nothing, just nothing really, like, I don't know. Nothing really hit for me. Nothing was like, I was, and I run into this. So, like, I've never been into celebrating, like, my birthday. I'm not a big holidays person. I just don't really, I don't really care that much about holidays myself. Yeah, I'm not really into celebrating stuff. And my birthday really isn't like just very important to me. And so, like, I always feel, I get this frustration sort of when, like, I feel like I make it pretty clear that, like, I don't really want to do anything. I don't want to make a big deal out of, it's not worth going through a lot of stress to me, right? Like, it's not worth it, whatever. Like, I just don't want to put up with it. And I don't know, there's some people who, like, I don't know, I feel this sort of thing where, like, some people, maybe anyone listening can relate to this, it almost feels like it's more for them than it is you. Or it's like they want to make a much bigger deal out of it than you do. I'm not saying this. I have friends who, like, we do stuff for my birthday. I'm not talking about them if they're listening. That's all wonderful. But there's certain, I don't know, people in my family who want to make a big fucking deal out of stuff. And it's like, I don't know, like, I get you want to celebrate me, but at the end of the day, it's like my thing. It's literally like a holiday for me. It's a holiday for the person. And I don't know. I feel like in my very cynical mind, I'm like, I feel like there's people who take things like that as, it's less about the person that they're supposedly celebrating, and it's more like an excuse for them to have fun. And so, like, when that doesn't fit your idea, it's like, what? I don't know. I'm being super cynical. This is a fun holiday episode. I don't know. I had a fine holiday. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a holidays kind of person, but it's nice. It's nice to spend some time, and I don't know. It's good. It's like yeah. I'm trying to find words, but I really don't have that much to say on it, which is why I'm floundering. That was how my holidays went. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than that, and a bunch of, nice well wishes and stuff like that, which is, I'm not forgetting anything, right? I better not be forgetting anything. I'm going to feel like a huge asshole. I'm going to feel like a big jerk. I believe that was it in the way of gifts. My neck. Did you hear that? Did that pick up? I think that picked up. All right. Well, let's see. That was our one comment. I wanted to mention. So I mentioned we went to go see the new Puss in Boots, and I'm gonna be honest. I went into this movie with zero expectations. It's a sequel to a Shrek spin-off in like 2022. And she told me she wanted to see it, and I knew Kat wanted to see it because it's a kitty cat movie and it's a little baby cartoon for her baby brain. I love you, sweetheart. And I was like, whatever, it's for her. So we go in, and like always, we're like the only people in the theater. We weren't the only. There was a guy who sat like a grown man who came in, sat on the other side of the theater from us. And then there was like a family behind us who was like kind of, they didn't make too much. It could have been worse. It could have been worse in terms of how much noise they made. So I don't know, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's going to be what it is. And we watched the movie, and it was shockingly very good. It was because she told me going in, she said, this movie has the highest Rotten Tomatoes score of any movie we've seen in theaters. And I was like, what? Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish? It's higher than, like, The Northman? It's higher than, like, The Suicide Squad? I have to put emphasis on the because people think I'm talking about the bad one. Higher than, what else have we seen in theaters that was good? I don't. We saw Sonic, but I didn't like Sonic that much. But I'm like, higher than those movies? Really? Like, you're kidding me. It was like a 99%. And then the next day it went down to like 96 or something. And I was like, what the hell? This has to be... What? What the heck? And I watched the movie and I'm like, this is a good movie. This is quite good. There's a lot of things to like about it. It is... So, I guess I'll just get, like, the negative things out of the way first, which is... Excuse me, Jesus. Which really isn't very much. It's just that, like, it's not even really a negative. It's just, well, it's like a family movie. It's aimed to be, understandable for kids and all that. So there's that element of, like, hey, we're just going to say what the moral is kind of thing. But, like, other than that, honestly, that stuff wasn't even that egregious. It was like, okay, whatever. Other than that, it was like, this is a pretty, good movie. All, like, very well constructed. How do I describe it? There's a couple ways you can describe it. It's like, I looked over at her during the credits and I was like, this was like if Studio Trigger made a Shrek spin-off. Which is, like, a weird thing to say, but there's, like, action sequences in this movie that look like they were from, like, Kill la Kill. The opening sequence of the movie looks like one of those scenes from, like, like, that scene from, like, Attack on Titan, like, the first season? Like, the first time that they go... It's the scene. It's the one. I don't even have to tell you which one it is. It's, like, exactly that... with, like, the like the speed and, like, the super dynamic direction and motion, and it's very, like, well blocked and storyboarded, and it's like Puss in Boots fighting off this, like, big rock monster, this, like, giant, like, rock mountain giant, and it's, like, really, I was like, this is pretty good. This is really a really well done little action sequence. It's very fast. I was like, the opening of the movie, super ADHD. And I was like, oh, is the whole movie going to be like this? And it's honestly not. But the opening is there to, like, grab your attention. And then he fucking dies. He fucking gets crushed to death by a church bell that falls on him. And I was, oh, he's dead as fuck. So the premise of this movie is that Puss in Boots from the Shrek universe, they do the thing where it's like he's a cat, so he has 9 lives, and which like it's obviously like a tropey cliche thing, but it's like Shrek, and it's like, hey, fairy tale, nursery rhyme, even like wives' tale things. It's, like, acceptable. Cats have 9 lives. It's one of those things. It's kind of folksy. It sort of fits into the universe. And he's on his last one. And they have this montage of all these times that he's died. He's gotten, like, fucking burned to death. He's gotten, like, crushed by bowls. It's just, like, gruesome. Like, nothing super gory. It's all, like, I guess tastefully done for a family movie. I was like, oh, this is way more morbid than I was expecting. So he's on his last life, his 9th life, and he's not worried about it. But he has a brush with death, literal death. It's like this it's this character design that's way too cool for this movie. It's like this white wolf in a cloak with, like, twin sickles. Who's, like, actually the Grim Reaper. And he, like, attacks Puss in Boots because he's come for his fucking life. And Puss in Boots gets all scared, and he's like, oh, fuck, maybe I do need to retire. And he goes to this, like, home for cats, this, like, rescue shelter for cats. And he's all, like, beaten, he's all washed up. And then he finds out that there's like, this enchanted forest that has a star in it that will grant you one wish. And he's like, oh, if I get I can wish for all my lives back, and then I can keep being an adventurer forever. So the whole movie turns into basically, I looked over at her during it, and I was like, at a certain point, like after the 30-minute mark, after the first act is like really all well and done, it basically turns into it's a mad world. I don't know if that was enough mads for the title. I forgot how many it has, but it literally turns into like it's a mad world, where there's like all of these characters, because there's like this map that leads to the star that gives you a wish. And there's like all of these characters who are trying to get to the star, and they all have their own motives, and they all want their own things. And it's all pretty clearly explained, even if it's relatively simple. But there's like enough expanding upon it and development, and it's fucking like, there's some extremely, like, the humor was a lot dark, like, more morbid than I was expecting. Like, a lot of on-screen death and murder. And there's, like, a part where they're, like... So one of the... I forget what the guy's name is. He's from, like, he's a character from, like, a nursery rhyme. He's kind of like the main villain. What's the nursery rhyme called? It's, like... Little Jack Horner, but he's Big Jack Horner. So he's like a nursery rhyme character, and he's like this fucking maniac. He's like this maniacal corporatist. It was like a pie factory, and he's looking for this star because he's like insecure and he's upset that no one cares about him because he's a little nursery rhyme. So he's going to like. He literally states that he does not care about human life. And he has all these little cronies, and they just die in front of him, and he's like, whatever. And like a guy like there's like a plant that like literally swallows this man's like skin and not bones. He's just a skeleton. Like a plant comes down and goes, and literally slurps his fucking skin and muscle off, and he's a skeleton. And I was like, what the fuck? He's just dead? He just died? What? And then it turns into like this scene. They're in like this forest of killer plants. And then it turns into like a scene out of like Aliens or something. Or like in 40K when they get attacked by Tyranids. And it's just like, hey, everyone's fucking dying. I was like, what the shit? What? This is so much weirder than I thought it was gonna be. And yeah, I mean, it was like I don't know. It's just a pretty solid movie. There's some decent character work. It's simple enough for what it is, but it's got some stuff going on. It's extremely well directed. It has a much more it's much more stylized visually than like any of the other Shrek movies. It has kind of almost like a storybook sort of shading to it, where how would I describe it? It's like it's fairly got a sort of like, I don't know. I don't want to say like stock art style, but there'll just be like some kind of odd colored shading, like purple like lighting on a character's face, or their hat or something like that, or just like weird kind of colors that are like slightly surreal, I guess. And then also some stuff that's going at like a slightly. It's got that kind of Spider-Verse thing a little bit, where it's like a slightly reduced frame rate, as if it's animated on 2s or something like that, or even lower maybe for certain characters. which is like there's actually parts. There's like the trailer for Spider-Verse. I'm actually not a fan of how they do it, like for everything. Like I don't like that scene at the beginning of the Spider-Verse trailer where it's just Miles and his mom. It's really weird because it's got that like limited. It's like it looks like the movie's dropping frames. I don't know. That's what it looks like because the movement's too subtle. The movement's like too subtle. So when you like take some frames out, it's like it just looks choppy and weird, and it's like too distracting for my brain. It's fine when it's like there's a little more motion, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's like universally good, but what the fuck was I talking about? Yeah, the movie kind of does a little bit of this. Not in a way like that where I sort of dislike it, but I'm not saying Spider-Verse has bad animation. I just don't like it in that context, in like scenes like that. And Pussy in Boots 2 has sort of a similar, like, yeah, it's just more stylized look. I think it was a totally different, I think Kat mentioned it was like a totally different, let me just look this up, hang on. Totally different, like, team. What was the 2011? Man, I was like, yeah. Wow, I didn't realize it was that old. The original. Man. What a weird, like that made me even less. Yeah, because I was like, didn't that movie come out, the original come out forever ago? Yeah, wow. Excuse me. Who was this? Okay, directed by Chris Miller, really? Huh. Wait, is that who I'm thinking of? Is that, he has a movie called The Cellar? I'm suing him. Okay, this is not the Phil Lord Chris Miller. This is a different Chris Miller. Oh yeah, there's literally, okay, different guy. Yeah, so the first one, directed by Chris Miller, screenplay by Tom Wheeler, story by Brian Lynch, Will Davies, and Tom Wheeler. Last Wish was directed by Joel Crawford, screenplay by Paul Fisher, Tommy Swerdlow, and Tom Wheeler. Okay, so there's like one person who is common across both of them, but yeah, for a largely different team. Tom Wheeler, Joel Crawford, what did he do? Oh, Kung Fu Panda, and B-Movie, and Rise of the Guardians, and Trolls, and Lego Movie 2. Okay, so he's got a storied career. Oh, he was a director on. Oh, this is like his third directorial. Oh, really? Okay. Damn, really? It was his third directing role. The first one was on Trolls Holiday, the TV special. The second was on The Croods: A New Age. Okay. And then he just did this movie, which was significantly more interesting and stylish than that. Hey, never count someone out. Never count someone out. That did Tom Wheeler. What else has he written? Bunch of stuff I have. Oh, the Lego Ninjago movie. Yeah. Oh, you wrote on Empire, really? Well, yeah. So, it was good. I would honestly recommend it if you're interested in animation, or if you have kids. There's more language than I was expecting. They say crap a few times. I think Puss says, what the hell? A little more than I was expecting. I don't know. If you think your kids can handle that. Also, there's like blood in the movie. Like the scene where Puss gets like, where he has his run-in with the wolf. He gets like a wound on his head. You don't see like a big gash or anything. You don't see the wound itself. You just see like a little blood trickle down his little cat face. And he like fucking looks at it on his paw, and there's like real ass blood on his hand. I was like, this is way more intense than I was expecting. Like, what the fuck? It's like the second thing that happens in the movie. Yeah, there's a fight scene at the end that's fucking crazy. Like, when I say, like, Studio Trigger, like, that's what that shit reminded me of. Yeah. I don't know, if you got kids, hey, it's a fucking decent, it's a pretty well-constructed family movie with some interesting direction, some kind of weird humor for its, I guess, target audience, and yeah, decent message. Yeah, the movie's about. I mean, it's kind of what you would expect. The movie's about how you. I say it's what you would expect, and now I can't put it into words. Like, hey, maybe the thing you wished for was maybe you don't actually need a magic star to do it for you. Maybe it was right in front of you the whole time. Yeah, Puss in Boots 2, The Last Wish. Surprisingly quite good. There was the one, like, adult man in our theater fucking fell asleep like 45 minutes in. We just hear I hear, like, some faint snoring. I look over to, like, confirm that it's. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not from the movie. I look over at we're like, what the fuck? And like 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, he wakes up, like, stands up and, like, stumbles out of the theater. Well, like, the movie's not even over. What the fuck? He just like in a daze. And then, like, 5 minutes before the film's over, the family behind us starts getting up, which wouldn't be too bad. But, like, the dad's, like, fucking turning the flashlight on his phone to look for stuff. I'm like, dude, come, like, fucking, I don't want to see, come on, dude. There's, like, 5 minutes left. And you know what's so funny is they were trying to go home early. Guess what? I stood next to them on the bus stop. Yeah, we watched not only the rest of the movie, we watched the whole credits in case there was something after the credits, and we were just kind of chatting because we were the only people left in the theater. And we watched the whole credit. There's nothing at the end of the credits, by the way. We watched the whole thing, and then we walked out, and then I walked to the bus stop. I waited with her for her bus to come, saw her off. I walked to my stop. The same family was there. They'd been waiting there the whole time. You didn't even save any time on that. All you did was spend more time in the cold. Oh, it reminds me of growing up. My dad always had this thing. So there's this road where we grew up in Illinois. Ridge. Was it on Ridge? Yeah, it was Ridge. It's a street in Chicago, and Ridge is designed, or specifically the part that's in Evanston, which is the city just north of Chicago, where I kind of grew up half. I was technically born there, and I grew up like half there. I grew up on like this weird like border. Anyway, it's a long story. So Ridge, it's also in like it also cuts through Evanston, and it's literally. The lights are designed so that if you drive around 30 miles per hour, you will hit greens the whole way. Like if you start on if you're on a green, if it turns green, you go and you just hit 30, you will just fly through. You will hit 0 reds. It's specifically designed to be as efficient as possible if you just go the right way. And my dad would always get pissed off because there would always be some guy and he's got to speed ahead in front of us. And he's like, this fucking idiot. And then we would get to the next red light, and then guess what? That guy's in front of us and he's like, oh yeah, how much time did that save you? Fucking idiot. I'm like, all right, Dad. That's what that. Oh my god. So yeah. What the? Oh yeah, Puss in Boots. Good movie. It's pretty good. Excuse me. Anything else I remember from it? Yeah, not really. That's pretty much all I have to say on it. I wanted to talk about a nice little story, guys. This is a short one, but I wanted to talk about it because there's a recent story. I'll just read it out. What town don't I have? Okay. Nope. Where was it? Here it is. From RPCS3 on Twitter. Now, if you don't know, RPCS3 is kind of the leading PlayStation 3 emulator. They said, we are delighted to announce that as of today, this is Christmas, the RPCS3 loadable compatibility category has reached 0 games. So what that means is they have 5 different categories for how many games for compatibility for across the PS3's library. So it goes from all the way from playable, which means you can play the game at a pretty stable rate. No serious glitches that are introduced by the emulator or anything. Basically, it's like the top quality emulation. In-game, which is that games can't be finished because of they aren't compatible enough to be finished. They have some kind of serious glitches, or the performance is too bad to be truly playable. Intro, which is that they get to the intro, but they don't get past any. You can't really get into the game. And loadable, which is games that display a black screen with a frame rate on the Windows title, which is it basically boots to a black screen, and then nothing, which is that it doesn't even start up. So nothing is at 0%. And as of Christmas, the loadable category has also hit 0%, meaning that there is not a single game on the PS3's library that will boot to a black screen. Which is incredible. And for reference, the games only get to that can only get to the intro is, they call it a 3.42%. So okay, so that's pretty good. In game, meaning that it's playable, but or you can play it, but it's not playable. Are about 30%, and then fully playable games is about 68% of the library. But specifically, the fact that everything will at least boot to the intro is a huge milestone. Like, that's super cool. And I wanted to talk about this because, I don't know, I was thinking about this, and we had the conversation last time on the last episode about people who ignore, people, we were talking about people who they only play AAA stuff, and that whole, like, gaming sucks now. What happened to gaming? And it's like, dude, I was thinking about this, and feel free to disagree with me. I feel like gaming today is legitimately, I say this with full sincerity, and I'll argue this, I feel like it's better than it ever has been. Ever. And I say that for a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of reasons behind that. So first of all, just the sheer accessibility of games to people is mind-boggling. And this story really reminded me of that because, like, I remember growing up, and this is maybe like 10 years ago. I remember being a kid, and the main, as mainstream as, an emulation, a discussion on emulation can get, but the mainstream opinion that was very, like, it seemed like that was just the way it was, is that there will never be a well-functioning PS3 emulator. That was that's what most people believed. That was the popular opinion. That, like, the PS3's hardware was just too strange. It was too weird to get working. It's way too much work. The PS3 is just like a locked console, essentially. I remember that being a very common sentiment, to where I believed, like, I don't think it's ever gonna happen. And now here we are in 2022. And like, when did the PS4 come out? 2014? So less than 10 years after the PS3's end of life, basically. We're sitting here, and you can play almost 70% of the console's library through emulation for free. Through piracy, but you know. But fucking think about how many games were not ported, right? Think how many games were exclusive to the PlayStation 3. And Metal Gear Solid 4, never been ported. I don't know if it'll ever get ported because Konami sucks. Fucking, you can play it on an emulator now. Like, that's incredible. That's so cool. I have on my computer a folder that is literally the entire NES library. The entire thing. Japanese, for every region that every game was released in. But, you know, of course there's going to be obscure ROM hack type stuff and weird bootleg stuff, but, you know, like what you would consider the you know, officially licensed NES library, it's all on my computer. I have a folder of it. That's crazy. And if you just think about, like, even beyond emulation, which is better than it's ever been, and which I think is really the best means of preservation that we have and archival that we have. Even if you ignore that, I mean, think of platforms like Steam or Epic or whatever. Think about how accessible games are now. There's still things that are exclusive and that they're landlocked to a certain console, and that's dumb. But man, it's so much better. It's so much better. Think about how many games that you can go on, like, fucking itch.io or something and just download it for free, and then play it. And it's like a good ass game. Think about how many things. Like, obviously, mobile gaming is a fucking trash fire a lot of the time, but God, there's some gems on mobile that you could just play on your fucking phone. I have a little slab of, like, glass, and I can play a good video game on it on the bus. That's crazy. Can you imagine that? That's ridiculous. And it's so much more. Even on, like, the developer side, it's so much more accessible. It's so much more accessible to, I won't say easy, because making games isn't easy by any means, but, like, fucking, Unity is free. Unity is free, and of course there's a huge learning curve, you gotta learn a bunch. I'm not saying it's easy, but, like, you can. A single person, like, think about the fact that there are so many people who have, I don't know, it's like a somewhat common thing that every couple years, there's just a game that's made by one person who does everything, like Undertale or Five Nights at Freddy's or something like that, and it becomes the biggest goddamn thing ever. And it was made by one person. Undertale was made in RPG Maker, dude. RPG Maker. And, like, there's so many things, like, you can just fucking start writing code. You can start putting it into something like Unity for free. There's, like, Blender is, there's probably paid versions of Blender, but, like, you could get modeling stuff for free. There's artwork stuff that it's either, like, so much stuff that's, like, either free or like easily piratable. I'll say. And stuff for making music and stuff like that. That like it is so much more possible for just a single person to make a giant ass game. And honestly, it's like that kind of existed in, like, the 80s when the industry was really small and there was just, like, guys in their fucking rooms coding up some shit, like, with the you saw that a lot in, like, the UK games, like, PC gaming scene. That was, like, a big deal then. And then it kind of, like, went away because the games got too expensive. And it's like how distribution, the industry got so, there was, like, man, the 7th gen fucking sucked. I'm going to be honest. Fucking, like, industry got so big and it was so hard for, like, people to, like, get, I don't know, it was so much harder to do that, I feel like, because the means of distribution were still like bottlenecked by retail, and that retail bottleneck has been completely opened up. And of course, that means there's a bunch of trash, right? But there's so much good stuff too. There's so much good stuff you can find if you want to look for it. And from the consumer's point of view, again, like from the audience's position, it's so much easier to find out what's good and what's not. There's like literally recommendation algorithms. We have a very robust tagging systems. There's tons of people on YouTube, on social media who you can learn. I've made so many purchases that are based off of the recommendations of people I trust on YouTube. And like, man, it's so like, we can, obviously there's problems. There's always going to be problems with the industry. This industry fucking sucks in so many ways. But like, man, I think about it, and I think about even the time that I was growing up. In like the early 2010s and like the late 2000s. I think about the time I was growing up, and I compare it to now, and I'm like, God damn. It's so fucking good. We have it so good. It's crazy. Like the fact that you can like put up a game for whatever price you want now, and it doesn't have to be, you aren't limited by like a $60 obligation. The fact that we have so many free to play options, that, you know, there's so many like other like budget low cost things. Like, it's so cool, dude. It's so awesome. I legitimately think it's a shame when people look at like just the big blockbuster industry stuff and they think that gaming's gone downhill or something like that. And fucking like the habits and the desire and the greed, that's always been there. It's just with the internet and things like that, and digital commerce, it's just been made way easier to be shitty and greedy. That's always been there. Go watch my video on freaking Casey Munchkin. It's like the intro kind of like appetizer story in the Mortal Kombat murders video that I made up. Fucking God, that was a while ago. But like, yeah, the desire to just be a sleazeball and rip people off and make money, that's always been there. But I look at it now and it's like, would I go back? Would you go back to the 90s? Fuck no, I wouldn't go back to the 90s. I wouldn't go back to the 90s. I could play all the shit from the 90s today. I can play all that right now. Plus more stuff. It's awesome. I can do it on my nice computer, listening to a podcast or something like that, and I can install a patch that fixes bugs from a game from like 20 years ago. Dude, like, yeah, it's such a shame. It's such a shame when I hear people just bemoan, and they act like things suck and things used to be so good, and it's like, man, fucking look what you have. Look what's around you, man. It's so good. We got it so good right now. I'm not gonna lie. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be pushing for things to get better. I don't think that at all. I've been a huge proponent of better working conditions. I like to call out bad business practices. I'm not in that like toxic positivity, let's just ignore all the bad things. I'm not like that at all. But like, just take a second during the Christmas season to just appreciate, man, like shit's fucking good right now, dude. Shit's good. Go download RPCS3. Play some fucking PS3 games. Go play Metal Gear Solid 4 on your computer. Oh, man. Yeah, it's so good. I'm feeling thankful. I'm feeling more thankful than Thanksgiving. I'm gonna get something to drink. I'll be back I'm gonna fucking just pause, and you won't even know that I was gone. And I'm back. I also got this my dad made this delicious ham for Christmas. I haven't had a ham, like a real nice, it's my hair in my mouth. I haven't had like a real nice ham in a minute. Yeah. Oh, and hey, if we're on the topic of how fucking good stuff is right now, very related. The Force engine has hit version 1.0. If you don't know what the Force engine is, it is not a source port, from what I understand, but it's an engine to be able to play Star Wars Dark Forces with a lot of the conveniences that you would expect out of a modern, well, honestly, source port. It has modding support, all that. If you don't know, Star Wars Dark Forces, it is a Star Wars FPS that is from 1990. What year was it? Wars Dark Forces. It's from 1995. And it is literally like a Star Wars take on Doom. It's like a 90s shooter with a Star Wars skin. You're this, like, I think bounty hunter or something called Kyle Katarn, who is became some important character in like the extended universe and all that. And I've always heard good things about it, but the reason I've never really dug into it is that it's all closed source. It's all closed source, and it's never had you could basically only play it as it originally was on DOS through DOSBox. Even through the official release, it's never gotten some kind of like quality of life update or remaster. It's just how it is. So, like, you know, the reason that Doom, for instance, and Quake and Duke 3D, the reason those games have great source ports is because literally the source code was released. I don't know if it was released for Duke. It might have been like a weird like leak, but basically we have the source code. Carmack himself was very adamant about releasing it. He has this whole thing. He likes releasing stuff to the people. So he's the reason why we have the Doom source code. And it's only done good things for the game. It's basically made it immortal. And because now you could play it with a billion different source ports that have all sorts of different improvements to the game. But you'll probably still just use GZ Doom because it's the simplest all-around one. Yeah, so Dark Forces has never had that because it's always just been closed source. So you can mod stuff like visuals and things like that, but you know, you look at some Doom mods and literally there's like, you can literally make an entirely different game. There's like a whole, what is it, Sonic Robo Blast, which is literally just like a 3D Sonic game. In the fucking Doom engine, you're like, what the hell? Dark Forces has never had that. And it's always kind of what's held it back out of being that, and that I don't know how, like, super, from what I understand, it's slightly derivative, but still pretty good from what I've heard. So now that that's out, and it's also like super cheap. How much does it even go for on Steam? Hang on. Dark Forces. It's $2. It's $2 on Steam right now with the winter bundle. Offer ends January 5th. So you can get that and the sequel. What's the sequel? Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2. Also for, what is this? Yeah, $2. So you can get it for like $4. You can get the whole thing for $4. Or you can just pirate Dark Forces. It's okay. No one who made that game works there anymore. It's a LucasArts game. Fucking. And it's totally compatible. I'm assuming, I haven't used the Force engine yet, but I'm assuming basically it's like how you use most other Force ports. You open up. Actually, you might even be able to just set it up so that that hitting play in Steam launches it through Force engine instead. But yeah, no. So check it out. I might just buy it fucking as soon as I'm done with this. Yeah, and just another thing to be like, hey, this shit was, this was never gonna, I can't believe this happened, dude. Man, it's, yeah, I don't know. We got it so good. I want to move on to a couple games that I was playing, just some quick impressions before we wrap things up. Excuse me. Yeah, so I briefly touched on it last time, but I did want to devote a little bit of time to the Vampire Survivors DLC. Bingo card time. Yeah, no. So the Vampire Survivors DLC, Legacy of the Moonspell. Really good. I recently, I think as of like yesterday or 2 days ago, I 100%ed it. I got all the new content, new characters and stages and weapons and all that. So I have 100%ed the game again. What do I say about the DLC in particular? Well, I'll just go into some extended thoughts, I guess. So it comes, the new content is basically one new stage and 4 or 5, actually I think it's about 6 characters if you count the secret character. It's like about 5 or 6 characters, a couple, yeah, like about 5 or 6 new weapons, actually, all with like evolutions and stuff, and yeah, I'm pretty sure that's most of the, obviously like new music and things like that. What was I forget. Legacy of the Moonspell. I'd have to look up the full thing, but that's mainly like what I'm interested in, right? It's like, okay, characters, weapons, stages, what's the new content, new bosses, anything like that. And it's like, it's got all that. It's got all of that. I probably should have just looked up what everything that's, yeah, 8 new characters. Oh yeah, yeah. 8 new characters, 13 new weapons, including the evolution, 6 new tracks, new stage. Mount Moonspell. And yeah, that's kind of, there might even be more that's just I haven't found yet. But or that no one's found yet, because it's how this game works. So the new so I hear that, I'm like, okay, one new stage. I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but this stage, it's like it is the largest, most complex stage they've done. It's like the idea is that it's like a Japanese, it's like a Japanese mountainside. There's like actually different areas to it. You know, the game's kind of like, you look at the early stages from like the base game and all that, and a lot of them, like from early in development, it just kind of like, it's just a thing that scrolls, and they're not particularly complex, just scrolls and repeats forever. This one actually has like areas, like different areas and parts of the map. You start out basically at the foot of the mountain, and you can go up the mountain. It has caves inside. There's enemies like that spawn uniquely and different depending on what area you're in. So you can go up the mountain. It has, yeah, those are all these different areas inside of it. There's weapons there. There's like an ice lake in the top left. There's this little like almost like this camp, like this big like fortress almost, with like, let's like this fenced off area in the top right. Then at the bottom, the snow like there's like a little, the snow ends basically, and then it's like farmland. It's like supposed to be farmland, but it's in the wintertime, so it has a great atmosphere to it. There's all these different houses and different little like shrines and things that are tucked away at the bottom. There's like a lake where like kappas spawn. Bunch of new enemies. Really cool just to like look around and explore and just find little secret stuff, and just really fun. Just fun stuff to look, yeah, just to explore. It's a fun stage to explore. I played it like a dozen times and I was still finding new stuff. 8 new characters. The new characters are really fun. They're very well animated. They have very cool, the new weapons are cool. There's one that's the idea is, what's their name? Is it Miang? No, not Miang. Is it Sayuto? It's the someone in a kimono. It's like they got blue skin and they wear like a kimono, and they work in this completely different way where they're the regular because usually weapons basically go off on a cooldown, but for them it goes off on like a timer as long as they're moving, and they're like constantly striking these different poses as they're walking, and they have this cool. It's like their weapon is like this kimono. Their starting weapon is this like kimono that creates these doubles of your character that like freeze, and then I think when you evolve it like confuses enemies and stuff like that. It's fun. There's a lot of just fun stuff in it. New achievements and stuff like that. There's a new secret character, 4 secret characters. It's good. It's really good. And again, it's really cheap. It's really cheap. So yeah, I would if this is the, I'm assuming there's going to be more DLC. And if this is the if it continues to be, if the next one is this level of quality, I'm down. Like, yeah, fuck it. And for like $3 or whatever, how much it is, it's $1.79 right now on Steam in the winter sale. Like, yeah, no, I'm super down for whatever the next one is. Whatever like new it's got a great, yeah, I don't know. What's nice is that it really does feel like a very cohesive. It doesn't feel random, I guess. It would have been really easy to just throw a bunch of random shit into like a DLC pack. But no, there's like a consistent theme. It's got this traditional Japanese kind of anime theme with I say anime. That's just because it's Japanese. It's not particularly. They would describe one character as being like a shonen protagonist, but like it has a very like, I don't know, that I don't know, that Inuyasha Demon Slayer style, like old classical Japan theme. Yeah, whatever the next thing is, I'm super down. I'm excited. I felt good completing it. Next thing I wanted to talk about, Chaos Code. I played this a little while ago, and then I forgot to talk about it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about it. So I bought a little while ago Chaos Code, New Sign of Catastrophe. Some people suggested it to me. I booted it up, and I have some thoughts. I didn't play very much of it. I played like 2 hours, according to Steam. 2.4 hours. But I can give some impressions about it, basically. This game, it's interesting. It's an interesting thing to talk. Yeah. It's interesting to like review or kind of size up, because the game screams budget. Like, it is a budget game in so many ways. Like, it doesn't the aspect ratio doesn't fit properly in like windowed mode. It's a lot of elements of the presentation I find kind of cheap looking, like the menus and all that. The sprite work is quite nice, but yeah, I don't know. Just there's like a budget feel to so many parts of the game. But goddamn, they really nailed the feel of a fighting game. Like, clearly what I get from this game. Oh yeah, there's also a ridiculous amount of spelling errors and grammatical errors. I'm literally looking at the Steam thing right now. I got an achievement for getting a 50-hit combo, but they don't say like perform a 50-hit combo. They say appear a combo for more than 50 hits. There's so much stuff like that. Like, even in the little tutorial, the like tutorial info pages, there's like spelling error or grammatical errors. It don't make any sense. Like, budget. But man, it feels like people who clearly know what they're doing. They just need a little more budget, I guess. A little more budget and a little more time, maybe? FK Digital. Why would you call yourselves Fuck Digital? Why would you do that? Okay. What do I gameplay wise, I think that's the most important part, because it's really the part that stands out and is fun. It's like interesting. Gameplay wise, it feels like a blend of like an SNK fighter, like specifically KOF, but much more skewed in an anime fighter direction. It feels like a weird KOF crossed with, I don't know, Guilty Gear or BlazBlue, for a reference most people will get. It's got that feeling to it. So like same style of like canceling in and out of moves, but you have a similar kind of like, it literally has a KOF setup of like 4 buttons: light punch, strong punch, light kick, strong kick, proximity normals on your strong buttons that are like your big combo starters. And it's all the hits, like the way that hits feel, the hits stop, the sound effects, it all feels like when you do an EX move, when you do a super, it all feels really good. They nailed it. For as budget as everything else feels like, that stuff, the important stuff when you actually are like playing the game, feels really good. The movement feels good. It doesn't feel stiff at all. Combos are very, like, I was able to jump in really easily and just start messing around and just trying and figuring out combos on my own and stuff like that. And yeah, and it was cool. And I found some stuff and I was like, hey, this is pretty neat. Like, hey, can I do this into this? And yeah, you can. I am not an expert on the game's deeper mechanics or anything like that. So I won't be able to really speak on like a bunch of on that kind of thing. Of like, yeah, you can do a fart cancel into like a into like a bigum mode and do your Jesus super. Or, I don't know. I don't know. I just played it for like 2 hours. There are one thing that I thought was neat, that I sort of knew about, but I didn't really. Someone mentioned it to me in a comment. They said like, hey, there's like a character in Chaos Code who basically has like a dandy step. They literally have like Slayer's dandy step. And I was like, oh, really? But it was like someone they described it as like a selectable move. Did Lozy tell me about that? Like a stream, I think. And so the game has kind of a neat system where you select your character and then you can choose. You basically get 2 choices of 4. 2 of those options are going to be extra special moves, and 2 of them are going to be extra super moves. So you can pick like, you can have like 2 extra specials. You can do one extra special and 1 extra super. You can have 2 supers, and you get to choose what you want to do. And it's like a neat little level of customization. I don't know. It's neat. Again, I don't have a solid grasp on how it really affects the game on like a strategic level or anything like that. But I can say, at least for someone who was just like trying it out, it was kind of nifty to see how characters, like what new moves they would get. Depending on like, you know, what they chose or what I would choose. Yeah, I don't know. There's some weird system of like bounce. Let's see, like you have like a different. You can change what kind of meter you have. I don't know how that works. There's like 2 different styles of meter. Someone's gonna explain it to me in the comments. The main character does have a dandy step, and I was surprised, and it's a cool one too. because you get to cancel. I'm not sure exactly what the rules are, but you get to cancel. You get to do one follow-up into another one. I'm not sure. I feel like there were instances where like I could go one way but not the other. But it was pretty cool, and I was just labbing out little things with him. There's some cool, there's some cool characters in this. I also liked there's like I don't even remember what her name is, Celia or something like that. She's like this gothic Alita girl, and I think she was like the first character I tried, and she has this move. A lot of her moves are her like throwing missiles and stuff, but like they come out of her skirt. And like if you do that move in the air, there's just like a big old panty ass shot. And I was like, is that really okay? Fine, all right. And then she has like a evil version where she's like a cyborg, and she like makes a drill with her hand, like out of her hand, and like blades and out of like her limbs and clothes and stuff. And it's actually really cool. And I was just labbing some stuff with her, and then some of the designs I was like, yeah, whatever. But there were some others, mainly that one, that I thought was cool. Just a guy who's a chef. There's a fella he's a chef, and all of his moves are him doing cooking things. Like he takes out a frying pan, and then that's like his jab is he like takes out the frying pan, and then he like flips some food in the frying pan, and that's like his like jab follow up. It's really cool. He throws you in like a pot. He hits you with a big sausage link, like it's a chain. There's a character named Ray, and so I checked out Ray, and I was like, okay. I'd seen this character on Will It Kill before, and I saw him doing some ridiculous combo that did way too much damage. And I was like, okay, because they have that thing that like Melty does, where they have like a short version of the character's move list in like the borders of the screen. And I was looking at it, and I was like, he's got like 3 or 4 specials? This is an anime game. There's no way that's true. There's no way that's the case. And then I look at his move list, and I notice he has a stance. If you hit both kicks, if you press both kicks together, he goes into a stance. And then I scroll down a little further, and I see the chart. And I'm like, oh yeah, this was the catch. This is what the catch was. And I don't know. Hang on. Can I find like a picture of this? Chaos Code Ray chart. Yeah, here it is. Oh my god. Yeah, you can find it on Mizumi. Where is it? I could see it in the Google image search results. You'll find it somewhere. All you have to know is that there is like a pentagram shaped flow chart that is part of it. It's not the whole thing. It's just part of it. And I was like, God, of course. It's like Angel from KOF. Actually, yeah. No, yeah, there's a lot of KOF inspiration in this. That might have been like a direct inspiration for the way his moveset works. How funny. I made the connection to, it's like Angel with her like circle whatever. But yeah. Actually, that might be exactly where that came from. So, and you know, to be fair, I was just I tried out this stance a little bit, and it honestly wasn't too difficult to wrap my head around. There's just some basic rules, and like, okay, I'm sure that there's like a couple particular strings that you're gonna be using mainly, but it's like, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just very like, You think of an anime game and it's like, yeah, there it is. Yep, that's exactly what I expected. Who are the other characters in this game? Maybe I should just go over my thoughts on them. New sign of catastrophe. What the fuck did Cerberus do? Is that the gun guy? Oh yeah, he is. Who else was I? Hermes. Big titty lady. I am not a fan of this design. I think she looks weird. Catherine I thought was cool. Themself. Okay, so this is Catherine. I was like, is this character a guy? No, they're just NB. Okay. So Catherine's cool. Basically, their whole thing, their I guess gimmick, is that every different move that they do, they have this weird fucking outfit. They look like someone trying to be like a Pikmin. And then every move that they do, they switch into like a different cosplay, basically. And it's really neat. It's like I figured out like a fun little combo that you can do of like comboing from like a projectile into a jab and stuff like it. Yeah, they were neat. I thought like visually it's a very memorable character type. So a lot of like personality. I love characters like that where every move they have is some kind of, I don't know, charming, very, yeah, like a lot of personality in their animations. Like Dizzy. Dizzy is one of my favorite like animated Guilty Gear characters because like so many of her stuff is you're seeing these interactions between the angel and the devil, and it's really neat. Who else struck me? Oh, this character Lupinus. This probably won't make sense if you haven't played this game. How many fucking anti-airs do you need? Jesus. Why does she have so many anti-airs? All like anti-air command grabs and stuff like that. Neat character. Needs to put some pants on. But God. There's like a brother and sister duo. They're called Kate and Sith. No, it's Ket. Ket is how it's supposed to be pronounced. Ket. Wait, what? No, wait. It's supposed to be pronounced Ket, Kettle, and She? Ket and She? Are you serious? It's pronounced She, not Sith? Is that like... Is Kate Sith from Final Fantasy supposed to be pronounced Ket She? No way. That's what the Kana says here on the wiki. Kettle and She. What the heck? That's so weird. I guess you learn something new every day. The main thing that's funny about them is that I already got worried because it's like this is like a weird anime pervert game. Don't even try to argue with me on that one. And there's like two characters, they're like brother and sister, and I'm like, it's gonna get weird. And no, it's not. Instead, did they have a move called? They have a move called like Suicide Little Sister Attack. That one really threw me off. That one really. And basically what it is it's like they do different attacks for their different specials, and you can like send the sister out and like basically plays her down as like a little set play thing, and then control the brother and then command the sister. It's like Eddie. It's like Zato 1 and Eddie. They have a super called My Own Style and Daddy's Surprise Meal. I don't like that name. I don't like that name. The brother sister, get goes away from me. There's a neat what's her name? Cathilla? How is she pronounced? Kutira, I guess. Catilla. Like a Lovecraft-inspired character? Pretty neat. I like her, like, I don't know, cool design. I want more characters that are designed around this sort of weird, like, what would you call it? Like deep sea horror, but she's like an anime loli, I guess. She a loli? Maybe. What characters are in this game? Yeah, I don't know. The chef guy. I didn't find anyone else particularly interesting and like visually. Oh, there was this cool. What's his name? Kudlak Sin? I don't know. He's like I'm assuming he's the villain. He like makes a bunch of skeletons and stuff. Summons them, and it's pretty neat. Bravo, that's the chef's name. A master Italian chef. It's pretty. He's cool. Just check out his moves. It's fun. Check out some Bravo combos. He has a reference to one of his colors. Is a reference to Full Metal Alchemist. He has a Mario costume. What? That's so neat. Yeah, it's a neat game. I don't know how much. I don't know if I'll ever put any time into it, but it's neat. I'm glad that I've at least played it. You know, maybe I'll play it on stream for a lark. You guys would like that. Does it have rollback? Chaos Code New Sign of Catastrophe rollback. It does not. Oops. Well. Hey, you know, we're getting we're getting fiber optic internet installed soon. So maybe that'll be the difference maker for me. Yeah, and then finally, one more fighting game. Because, of course, I reinstalled... I know I just talked shit about Mortal Kombat. But I reinstalled MKX. Because I don't know. I've had this thing... There's like a barrier between me and Mortal Kombat. And it's been like... I think so many of the characters are cool. And I think a lot of the combos even look cool sometimes, depending on the game and the character. Again, of course, I have so many grievances with the animations and the visuals, but like, man, when I went back and I played UMK3 and I was doing smoke combos, that shit was so fun. Those games are really fun. I want like a remaster. And then when I played like Deadly Alliance and it was also fun, I was like, man, there's cool stuff, and I don't know, man. There's so much. There's just this hump. Like I want to like Mortal Kombat more than I do, and there's some good. Like I was watching PND K&M, that channel. They do the competitive histories of different MK characters. They do like a bunch of different stuff. They do like they're a great channel. And if you're interested in Mortal Kombat, I would totally suggest them. Or if you even just like hearing about like fighting game balance and stuff like that. They'll take like one character and they'll like chart how good they were in every game that they've been in. And it's really neat. And I'm like, man, there's so much stuff that I find cool about it. But let me reinstall MKX. And I have to say, has it clicked? No, it has not. There's a lot of things that are very strange. I was getting a little frustrated because I'm like, man, I wish this played like any other fighting game. Because, like, I booted up Chaos Code and I immediately felt at home, and like I could just jump right in, start like practicing combos, figuring stuff out, and just messing around, and it was very easy for me to just slide into it. And I started up MKX, and it's so awkward and stiff feeling, and I don't know if it's just me, but it's like the movement is strange, which I think is more so than that. I could probably get used to the movement, but what's harder for me to acclimate to is honestly just the way the combo system works. It's called, they're called dial-a-combos for a reason. Like, it's real. I am still surprised. I've played a bit of the game before, but I am still surprised by, like, wow. It's like you literally just dial in a little code and then watch an animation play out, especially for the longer strings. There'll just be like a full second or two where I'm just watching like a cutscene, basically. And that's so weird for me because I'm so used to hitting the button and getting used to the timing of like when the move actually hits and then canceling into the next button or you know, linking into it. And here it's totally different. It's almost harder. You would think that like, oh, it's just, you just punch in a little combination and it goes. That would make it easier. But I find it much weirder, much harder because there's like no timing to it. Besides just like, just put it all in. Obviously there's timing to it, but it's so weird. It's so different. And then getting used to like cancel windows is very strange. For like what moves can't, like how soon, like, oh, do I wait for the move for like the thing for like the specific hit and then I cancel or what? And I don't know. It's like it's hard to describe, but it's just these like little details of just operating the game that make it that are different, that are very different from other fighters that really throw me off. And I'm sure that once I learn it and once I get over it, if I really do decide to just like actually try and like pick it up a little bit, it would be fine and I'd be able to play any other MK game and not have an issue. But it is yeah, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It was a lot easier. Also, the fact that, like, on top of that learning curve, there was also the learning curve of literally just trying to, like, check out characters. So, like, every time I boot up a fighter, I just go straight to training mode, and I just start trying out characters to see who I think is cool. And the layer of like, that's the extra layer on top of this is obviously the variation system in MKX. How there's 3 different styles for every character, and they can radically change their moveset from one to the other. So I'm already trying to like wrap my head around. Also, there was this, a pet peeve of mine is that Mortal Kombat does not use symbols for their attack buttons. Like every other game, they'll have like a little punch and a kick symbol, different colors for different strengths, that kind of thing. MK doesn't do that. And I find this so weird because they just use the literal buttons. So if you're playing on like a PS4, it's the PlayStation buttons. If you're playing on an Xbox, it's the Xbox buttons. Because I'm playing on keyboard, I'm seeing the keys. And that is actually very strange to me to see like the actual keys of my keyboard for the notation, because it's like, I don't know, it's so much easier for me in my mind to just link the buttons that I'm pressing to functions rather than like I'm pressing the key, like a down forward K. I have to translate that in my head. I got more used to it, but it was weird. It was weird at first, and it was just another barrier for me to get in. So I'm looking at these move lists, and these move lists are big because of the way that they list things and the way that, you know, the fact that they have big strings. They've like, it's not just like combo routes, it's literally strings with like unique animations and different inputs for each one of them. So I'm looking through all this, and I'm just trying to absorb it and looking at like, okay, this string is like unique to this variation, this special move is unique to this, and I'm also like trying to translate it in my mind to like, okay, that's like this, I hit this and then that and then like down back and then this and back forward and that. And just a lot of mental energy basically that I'm spending to just like understand the game. Eventually what I found a lot easier was there was an option, and this is for whatever reason, this is like a weird secret, but you can use a variationless version of the character. If you hit up, and you select them, and it gives you the little options for the variations. If you hit up, and then for me it was I forget what exactly. I can't say what button you would hit because I mapped mine to P, but it's like I think it's the grab button. Pretty sure. I think it was grab. I think it was the grab button. And then you can pick the variationless version of the character that's just the stock basic version. And I found that a lot easier to just like pick that and go into training and like get a bit of a handle on like, okay, what is the base version of the character? And then from the training options, switch to the different variations to see how it changed them up. I found that way more useful and easier to wrap my head around than just like jumping in and trying to like absorb all that info. So I'm like, yeah, I haven't touched it since like yesterday or 2 days ago, but yeah, I mean, I was watching gameplay of MK9. I think visually I prefer MK9 because of the it's a brighter game. I think I like the colors a lot more. I think the visuals are a lot better. I think it has some really good designs for some of the characters. With like a couple like random exceptions, but I think most of the characters have really good designs in that game. MKX is neat, but I do think it's still like a little too dark and muddy. I'm also not a big fan. Okay, so here's the thing. I really like Smoke. I like Smoke. I'm not a huge fan of the Triborg design. I like it when he's purple, and I don't like that he's all black when in the Triborg Smoke variation. Which is like, whatever. It's not a huge thing. I also don't like how it's like this I like the simple, classic style of the cyborgs where they aren't super detailed. They look like kind of goofy robot guys. I like that. I'm not a huge fan of the way that they look in like that like Triborg looks. I think it's like a little too busy. And I wouldn't mind if at least there was like a classic costume, but for some reason there's not, which is weird. I would think that like that would be a no-brainer to have a classic costume for every character. But no, there isn't. There's ones for the ninjas. There's ones for the mainly the ninjas that I remember. You can play that, but like for some reason the cyborg's not. Why not? Other than that, it's like, I don't know. It's a lot of learning curve stuff matched with some personal things that I'm not a huge fan of, like the visuals, and honestly, not all the animations are bad. I'll give that to them. Not all of them look bad. A lot of them look fine or good. Oh, enhanced specials. That was weird. There's a weird timing on enhancements. So for some reason, I don't know why they do this, but it's like you enhance special moves by hitting like the regular input, but also block. Why block? It's not like a problem. Like it doesn't. I haven't had like an issue with it, but it's just really the block button. Also, I don't like the fact that there's a block button. That feels very weird to me. Which is probably strange if you don't. You're like, oh, a block button. I'm sure it seems much more obvious to a lot of other people. Like maybe if, I don't know. It seems like that thing that seems obvious, but for me, holding back to block is way more intuitive. Way more intuitive, and I'm so used to it, and the kind of pattern of like crouch blocking and holding ground that way and all that. So having a button for it is really strange. But it's just stuff to get used to. But there's some neat stuff. I did like the Smoke variation on Triborg. I think the idea of Triborg is so cool. Probably the best implementation of the variation system in that game. I liked Shinnok, specifically the Necromancer one, where he got the bone hands and you make the big bone hand come out of the sky. Reptile's cool. I liked Alien. Oh, MKX also has a great guest roster. All the horror characters, all the horror movie characters. You got Freddy, not Freddy. Freddy was MK9. Sorry. You have Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, and then Alien and Predator. Like, that's sick as hell. That's great. You get to literally play Alien versus Predator. I know that that's not like this game's been out for years, but it is still a really cool thing. And I like the like acidic Alien version. I like that variation. Yeah, I don't know. I do have the urge, because I get annoyed if I don't get something. Like, I want to get it. I want to at least get it enough to the point where I can decide that I just don't like it. Or that I do like it, and I'll be pleasantly surprised. Yeah, so something that I'd like to go back to and try out. And hey, maybe even take online. Maybe I'll do that for the New Year's stream. And hey, I think I'm going to close this out here. And speaking of, because this is usually where I do all the announcements, doing the same thing that I did last year, we're going to have the stream on New Year's Eve. Going to be counting out. I am in Pacific Standard Time, so I'm going to be the last person in the world to hit New Year's. And it's going to be a countdown to my birthday. I'm turning 21. So, going to be fun. Like last year and the year before that. I'm looking forward to it. Stop by. And yeah, I hope everyone's had a great Christmas season, a holiday season in general. Hope it hasn't been too cold for you guys, that you're staying warm, and that you've had some nice time to gather with your families, that you got some fun stuff, that you got to give some fun stuff. Anything else? Yeah, well, this is our last episode before the new year. Man, the new year is on a Sunday as well. I guess I'll be recording then. Or whenever. Hey, don't be surprised if the next one comes out a little late, because I just don't want to do some stuff because it's my birthday. There's going to be one more video out before the end of the month. I got a couple more days. It's not going to be an issue. And then, yeah. I think that's basically everything I had to say. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble. If you have a question, please leave it in the comments below, and I will definitely get to it next time. But please leave it in the form of a question, because I don't just want to read your thoughts out loud. Guess what? Check out the Clips channel, which randomly the clip of Prox and I talking about the Nostalgia Critic just popped the hell off. Did not distribute to the rest of the channel at all, but I got like 1,000, 2,000 views. Something like that. I haven't checked. Way more than I was expecting. Yeah. Have a wonderful New Year. Bye.